Watch this. This is the world we live in. I could say something by mistake that gives offense to someone. I'm being recorded, and that means it could be broadcast and redistributed at my own peril. This is my disclaimer to say everything is my intellectual property that cannot be rebroadcast without my expressed written consent under penalty of law. I've never said that before. That was fun. All right, ready? Here's how you do italics. So, first thing I got, man, is I'm all over the keyboard using my fingers on the arrows. So I know all of my text is typed into cell A4. There's nothing in the rest of these cells. So, if I put my cursor over A4 and hold down Control I, italicizes everything in cell A4. I use my mouse to move up to A3, where I now know all of my text is typed in for that. And I want to italicize the piece. How much would I be willing to pay at a maximum today if I? First thing I have to do is get into cell editor mode for cell A3 that I'm sitting on. On a real computer, I hit F2 and it works automatically. I don't know how you do it on your own. It might be function F2 for some of you. It might be command F2. You might not know where the F button is on your computer. But notice cell editor mode is blinking. If I hit escape, no blink. F2, blink. Once in cell editor mode, I now use our keyboard navigation commands. Control plus shift. I like using my left thumb and forefinger to hold down Control plus shift. And then I like to keep my fingers on the arrows, and I'm left arrowing until I get to the beginning of that, so that I've selected only that text, to which I Control I, which makes it italics. I hit enter, and I am now out of cell editor mode from A3 down to A4, where I can make it italics again. Does that help? Cool. Anybody else questions on that? Okay, back to content. Matthew said, and some of you seen, and lots of you know, when I say cash is king, here's why. I forgot my bottle of water. I needed to go get more water so I could effectively teach and lecture and record today. I immediately said I need to solve the problem. I used Apple Pay, the vending machine, against my Park Ridge Community Bank debit card attached to my personal bank account at Park Ridge Community Bank to immediately electronically provide me with the ability to solve my problem. I didn't actually use cash for any of it, but I had access to cash. And when you have access to bringing cash in, it gives you the ability to spend cash out. Matthew, this is the foundation. Cash flow in, give me money. Once I have money, I can do things with it. So cash flows either in makes you happy or out makes you sad. Now, again, you have to take the concept of cash, and it's not really cash, it's access to cash. It's the most important thing. So you can bring it in. Because you know bringing it in makes you happy. So how do you bring cash in? How do you bring cash in? There's three ways. What we call through regular operations, like on the statement of cash flows. The very first section we covered in accounting is operating activities, which means revenues, which you know is P times Q. We did it for test 2. How many models did we have? At how many prices? Every one of those was just price times quantity. That's how we brought cash in. But we have other ways we can bring cash in. Another one of those ways is called financing. If you want to be snobby, some people call it financing. It's probably the more commonly used term. But the people I worked with, including Paul Hawkinson and his friends, all called it finance. So that was the accent you had to adopt if you wanted to be an insider. But financing means you can get money also from several other sources, including investors, those who own the company. So I type in the 2.1. I'm just typing text, but because I now want to subordinate it or indent it a little bit, Alt H6. All I want to do right now is increase my indent so that I can show that 2.1 is underneath 2.0.
Is that Alt H6?
Yeah, Alt H6. There you go. Remember, whenever it's Alt, you hit Alt and you let go. It's not pressed at the same time. Control is almost always pressed at the same time. Alt is strike and let go. So there's a reason you have investors. People bring money to the table for you and they go, here you go. Your parents are your investors right now if they're paying for your education. They're saying, I'm giving money out now. But you, as the individual, you're bringing it in, but you're not working for it. You have investors. Or, oftentimes, you can think of it as being lenders, which could include banks, insurance companies, or the bond market. Whereas this, too, I should show you how to do it. I get to going too fast sometimes. I type my text into cell A12. Next thing I want to do is I want to also subordinate this so they're on the same plane. The Alt H6, or increase indent, would work again. But something else that's cool, let's say we ended up with 2.3 and 2.4 and 2.5. If I go up here and select them all, after I've pressed Format Painter, Alt HFP, you have it on the front tab. You got a little paintbrush. You activate the paintbrush, and now I can apply that thing to multiples all at the same time. Format Painter. All right. But now, I'm going to get rid of these because I'm going to go to my third source for you, which our third source is then going to be investing. So we have operations, financing, and now what's called investing.
What about the minting process?
The minting process?
Yeah.
The process of creating currency?
Yeah. Brings cash in. Cash loses.
It's actually a subsidized cost center. Investing, I think of as two ways. Number one, capital acquisition. What does that mean? Buying property, plant, equipment, land, all that expensive stuff. You learned it as capital assets in economics. Long-term, lasting, durable goods. Or sometimes you're 3 years after having finalized your divorce and you're driving east on, is it called Devon turns into Forest Preserve Drive before it gets to Central where the train tracks are there. There's a pawn shop on the corner there near a wood Indian, like a cigar. I took my wedding ring there and sold it for $125. I didn't know what the proper length of time was to keep a wedding ring from a wife you didn't have anymore. But I knew this, I needed $125, so I disposed of some of my long-term capital to generate more funds. Capital disposition is a source of bringing cash in, whereas capital acquisition is the process of watching your cash go out. Lastly then, and then we'll stop the recording because I think we have a 15-minute timer on it too. What have we established, right? Cash flows in and out. The next thing that we have to recognize is that cash flows at different points in time. And when we think about those different points in time, we generally think of it as either in the present, which is right now, which we often label something like t equals 0 or time equals now. Present value is a snap of my fingers. It's an instantaneous, it's when I put my thumbprint on my phone and held it up against the vending machine and bought the bottle of water.
Did you get left water?
Hmm?
Why'd you get left water?
I don't know, dude. I just pressed the button that worked. Huh? So cash flows at different points in time, like the present right now. Anything else is the future. So if I want to take this bottle of water and return it for the 5-cent deposit that's associated with it, I'm not going to do that now. I'll do it some other point. Any other point is called the future.
Where do you take it?
What, this?
Yeah.
Straight to the pay you for plastics return place. Over by there.
I didn't know you could do that.
All right. The last thing that we say again, and then we'll stop this recording, is the key question is, how much should I be willing to pay for something today, which we can call cash flows out at period equals 0. How much should I be willing to pay today? Cash flows out at period 0 for a stream of predictable cash flows in or out in the future. The last caveat, assuming I have 3 choices.